welcome everybody here in the club room. This is Mark Moyer with Win Again, and tonight I'm very thrilled to have the CEO and founder of Play Crate with us, Josh Band. And Josh has such a really interesting story on how he got the company started, and now it's firing on all cylinders. But he grew up in the Boston area. I made a vow that I wouldn't bring anybody from the Boston area into the club room, but somehow he slipped through the cracks. But I'm thrilled to have him here. And I'm going to bring you in, Josh, now while I continue to do a little bit of the intro, and then we'll go from there. So Josh played some independent league baseball, and then back about 7 or so years ago, he decided, wait a second, the world needs a new idea. And the light bulb went off. And it went off very brightly, not dimly, brightly. And so from there, from the back of an SUV, he started selling his products, and now he doesn't need an SUV. He owns 42 of them or less. Anyway, welcome, Josh. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. That was definitely the most unique intro I've gotten. I don't have 42 SUVs.
Well, listen, don't tell anybody, but the carbon footprint, it's okay. I won't tell anybody. Do you fly private jets everywhere you go to? Just asking.
I fly the cheapest possible way I can get anywhere, honestly, or on points. If I have points.
There you go.
Yeah. If that's one thing, COVID helped me acquire a bunch of points because no one flew for a long time. So.
Oh, that's a good point. So let's rewind the tape back a little bit. Tell me just briefly about, some of your baseball playing, and then at what point did you say to yourself, wait a second, you know what, I'm not sure if this is going to continue, and what made you sort of one morning or one day, or what was the point where you decided, okay, I need to kind of maybe pare down or stop the playing, but now I can really start with this business?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always wanted to play baseball, be in the MLB. I didn't get drafted out of college, and then I was like, I don't really know what to do. I always assumed I would go in the draft at some point, and I didn't. And so that's when I had my first job, and I had kind of a first experience in the real world. And I was like, I'm just not ready for this. There's got to be some way to keep playing baseball in some capacity and keep trying to get better. So I played indie ball. I got signed with a team in Louisiana. It is, if you've never heard of indie ball, it's because it's in the most remote parts of the country where not a lot of people go to the games, and you get paid very, very little amounts of money, but it's kind of this awesome group of people who just love baseball, and they'll do anything to play. So it doesn't matter where you are, where you're asked to play, you'll be there. So I was playing in Louisiana and in Fort Worth and in Illinois, and then I would come back from the off season, and you can't get a real job, or a real job. You can't get a full-time job anywhere because you're just training and you're getting ready for the next season. So like most people, I did hitting lessons, and I did personal training, and I poured concrete and shoveled snow, and I just did odd jobs all the time, just to get ready for the next season. And I think it was like my second year of indie ball. I was like, I just don't want to shovel snow or pour concrete as much. I was like, if I can make $2,000 a month year round from an online business, I can just play baseball and not have to worry about money or how to get places or buy a plane ticket or gas or anything. I can just focus on baseball, buy the bats I want, like little stuff like that. So I Googled baseball subscription box one night just because I saw Birchbox came out. It was 2015 and subscription boxes were brand new. And I didn't think about starting one. I just was like, I wonder who's done this. And I saw no one did it. And I was like, well, the only thing I really know in the world is baseball and baseball retail. And that I always have side hustles. And it seemed like something I just really wanted to learn. I wanted to learn what a business was like. It was something that was always kind of mystical. I've always done a lot of reading on it. And I was like, I'm just going to take all my money, buy some inventory, and just figure out how to sell it. And that was really the start of Play Crate. It wasn't, there was no intention of growing it super big. There was no intention of even quitting baseball to do it. I just thought it could be a great little side hustle that I can make a little bit of income to pay for extra bats and batting gloves and gas money and food money throughout the year.
Well, what's remarkable, though, is that I think the general public thinks that all baseball players make tons of money because in their minds they see the Judges, the Jeters, the whatever, all these guys that they're making a ton, right? And, I
Yeah.
just saw something today that, or the other day that talked about, how, okay, Major League Baseball is making some strides in trying to bring up the average salary of minor leaguers, but even minor leaguers right now, the average is $10,000 a year, 10,000. And I mean, this is obviously, there's discussion about, well, should it be characterized as below poverty rate and all this kind of stuff? Well, of course, right? So virtually every single player has some sort of side gig, second thing, whether they're, whatever it is they're doing. So I can completely see why you felt compelled to do this. As a veteran of the snow shoveling, you know, thing, I could see why you'd want to maybe shift away from that. You know, especially especially up from where you were. But so in terms of, but when you said, gee, but I saw Birchbox, and so I was wondering why there wouldn't be a, there should be a baseball subscription. I mean, but that's not. I'm interested to hear what made you think that, because I don't know if I'd ever put those two together. Like I wouldn't even think of, gee, I'd get something every month from somebody that's got a bunch of stuff in it. I guess, I mean, that's a more of a newer thing, but did anybody else say, hey, I wish I was getting stuff in the mail, baseball stuff, or you just kind of,
No, nobody. It was kind of like a blue ocean, right?
yeah,
There's a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It didn't serve a need. It didn't solve a problem. It wasn't important to anybody. And if you asked people if they wanted it, they would say, I don't even know what you're talking about. So, um, I had a
perfect.
conversation with a friend earlier today talking about the power of being just super naive. And I was like, as naive as they come. I was like, I don't know how to make money. I don't know what a business plan looks like. I don't know anything, um, other than I knew baseball. And like kind of the early concept was I was meeting all these people around the country, and baseball people are tinkerers, and they're have this like weird obsessive personality about their craft. So they all had these cool training aids. And I was like, baseball players are great inventors, but horrible marketers. And I was like, I'm just going to market their products. So that's kind of how Play Crazy started. I was like, I'm going to make a box with these really cool training aids that aren't in Dick's Sporting Goods, because the people who are making the things that are actually useful are actually playing the game. They're not doing this full time. They're playing baseball full time. So
Right.
that was the initial idea. And then we filled out the box. We put in a training aid, and then we put in like snacks, and we put in other things, and it kind of evolved from there. And now we have Bandit Sports, which is our private label. We manufacture everything that goes in the box, from the apparel and the snacks and the sporting goods. And now it's something totally different. But again, I thought it was a cool idea. I was really curious about it, and I thought I literally have nothing to lose. I think I had $800 in bonds from when I was born that my grandparents put in like $100 when I was born, and like accumulated 800, and that was my inventory. So I bought inventory, and I just kept trying to figure out what the next step was, and that was just endlessly entertaining for me. I was curious about it. I enjoyed it, and there really was nothing to lose. I was 24 years old when I
Yeah.
had the idea, and I was like, there's no risk to it. So, and I have
So
plenty
who
of
were your
time.
first customers? So was it was it parents? Was it kids? Was it, like what was the
Yeah. So
demographic?
Yeah, so this was in Instagram in like 2015, where influencer marketing wasn't a thing. It wasn't a
Right.
phrase.
Right.
Now it's overused,
Yep.
and that was brand new. So I just DM'd some people with like 100,000 followers. I was like, can I PayPal you like $25, and you post a photo of a play crate and explain what it is? And they're like, sure. So um, that I was so nervous about losing $25. They posted it. I got like two sales, and I was like, this is incredible. It was like such a rush. So that's how we started. I would build up these relationships with people with followings. We would build a following on our account, and just put out content that baseball kids would like. Show them the product, show them what we were doing, talk about it, talk about sports, talk about baseball, and that's all I did. I would pay $25, $100, and then we would work it up. And I would say, what if I buy 10 posts from you, and can you give me a 25% discount? And that's kind of how it started. And then you start adding in more things like, oh, I need an email list. Let me build out my email list. And then the, the like you can go down the rabbit hole. We're still building, we're still tinkering. That's just it never ends. So yeah, you work on what's the next thing that's going to make everything else easier or irrelevant, which is kind of there's a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller, which the book is okay, but the concept is, what's the one thing that makes everything else easier or relevant, and go after that thing with full force. And that just seemed very easy to me. how am I going to
How
get
do
my
you,
next customer? Is it influencers or paid marketing or whatever it was? We'd go after it 100%.
so how do you decide, or a team decides what goes in every month?
Yeah, honestly, now we have a creative meeting where we sit down for 2 hours a week, and all we talk about is how to make this box cool. We plan out super far ahead for a bunch of different reasons, supply chain issues recently. All of our manufacturing takes a while, so we just planned out our February 2023 box today and kind of
Wow.
locked it in. But I mean, we're 6 years in now, and we kind of know the cadence of the box. We know how much weight should be in it. We know there's a piece of apparel, there's a training aid. Just from years of doing it, it feels very intuitive now. So every month now, you get a piece of apparel, you get a training aid, which is kind of the star of the show that they can instantly take out, use in their backyard. They get some type of snack, and then they get some ancillary items or some baseball accessories. Maybe it's like a shaker bottle or a lanyard or a speaker. Or a back grip or whatever it is. And we try to fill out the box. We have a budget for the box, and then we guarantee over $85 in MSRP. So once we hit that MSRP kind of goal, we know that there's a lot of value in the box, and then we design it and we just try to make it as fun of an experience as possible. So we do giveaways around it. There's a golden scratch off ticket inside. There's stickers. There's all these different components so kids can just pull everything out of the box and just have a really fun time with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, our goal is to get kids to use the things in the box, to get excited about it, to go outside, to play with their sister or their neighbor or their dad or their mom. And that's kind of what keeps us super motivated is this a box that people are going to use? And it's not just a bunch of protective equipment that's going to sit on their shelves.
So tell everybody now, who's not familiar, hasn't been to your site, is there an average cost on a monthly basis, and are there different tiers? Is it just the one tier? Talk about that if you could.
Yeah, we have a bunch of different tiers. We added a bunch of different ways to buy Play Crate, so you can get it monthly now, bi-monthly, or quarterly. So you can pick the cadence at which it's delivered. You get more discounts if you prepay for more. So if you prepay for 12 months, like a full year of Play Crate every month, the cost is $43. And then if you just want to do it on a monthly basis, the cost is $55. You're guaranteed $85 worth of gear. And we always have like an intro offer and a free item in the first crate, and you can pause at any time. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and free shipping. So that kind of helped, honestly. From like a
Yeah.
business perspective, yeah, we used to charge $8 for shipping, and the cost was $8 less. And then we
Right.
raised the cost $8, and we just added free shipping, and it instantly bumped our conversion rate. So there was like some perception in there, but yeah, it's anywhere between 43 and $55, depending on how long you want to stay for.
Got it. And so I guess I could almost ask the Shark Tank thing and say, well, what is your actual cost and so forth? But we don't need to go into that now if you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't think it's that interesting, honestly.
Oh, it's all that stuff's pretty interesting. But anyway, look, a lot of what we're trying to do here is twofold, Josh. I mean, number one is obviously I'd love it if you had a chance to meet some folks that could actually help elevate or grow your business. And or if they've got a couple of ideas on how to, because I think you and I spoke recently, you were talking about how you want to start diversifying the sports space. So tell me a little bit about how that's going and how you envision that going.
Yeah, so we started Soccer Crate in October. I mean, technically we didn't get our stuff till November. So we started Soccer Crate in November of 2021. Pretty much based on the theory that or the statistic that 80% of kids under 14 play multiple sports. So we said we already have a list of a ton of baseball players. All of those baseball players have brothers and sisters that play multiple sports. Plus that kid, chances are 4 to 5 times he or she is gonna play multiple sports. So we're like, what's the next sport? We picked soccer. We thought it was a huge total addressable market. We thought we'd have a big international play with that. I was totally wrong. We definitely should have done hockey first. I think hockey is parents spend more on average on hockey than they do on soccer. It's kind of obvious looking back on it. We just thought that there was such a big market and there was such big growth in soccer in the U.S. in the past 5 years that we're going to have a good time with it. But it's higher price point, so we're thinking let's have less customers and ship boxes less often. making 12 crates a year for Play Crate takes up so much time and so much bandwidth and so much shipping from China and all of our manufacturers that we just want to do 4 boxes a year, which sounded like nothing to us because we were used to doing 12.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a much simpler business model to have less customers, but get more bang for the buck. And we can put more value in the crate since it's higher price point. And it just took longer to get soccer off the ground. But now we're kind of cruising. We figured out some growth strategies and some partnerships in paid media. So we're chugging along. And then the plan is to launch all the major sports. So hockey's next, probably lacrosse after that, and then most likely basketball. And we're going to pull from our customer bases, cross pollinate in each box. We have handouts that go in every single box. Soccer crate promoting Play Crate promoting Soccer Crate. You cross pollinate the email list, do giveaways, and just broadening kind of our youth sports. So it's turning into more of a youth sports box than just a baseball specific box. We're just
Can
taking the
you,
playbook from Play Crate and copy and pasting it.
is it something that'll be way too complicated to cross-pollinate the sports, meaning someone could do, let's say for argument's sake, over the course of a year, get 6 boxes of baseball, 3 of lacrosse, and 3 of soccer or something, or would that be nuts?
No, so eventually that's the plan. We didn't know whether we want to do a sports crate first and build that out, or do individual
Yeah.
sports and then merge them together. So we're going to do individual sports, and then it's eventually going to be a sports crate where you can sign up and just go into your customer portal and say, I want to switch baseball to soccer for this month.
Yeah.
And then when it's football season, you say I want to switch soccer to football, and you just go into your portal and you change it, where you change your shirt size, your billing information, or your shipping info. And we work with a great development company who could build that out. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. Is it's an all sports platform, and that allows us to work with tons of broader companies than just being in a baseball niche.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't mention one of my favorite sports, curling. Is there a curling box coming soon, or can you imagine sending one of those big giant stones?
Just based on weight alone, I'd never want to send anything curling. Shipping is getting more pricey. So curling is probably the last sport we'll get into.
Wonder why. It's crazy. Well, look, so obviously, as you said, being completely naive was one of your biggest strengths at the time, because it prevented you from overthinking things, or maybe knowing things that prevented you from doing what ended up being successful for you. But give me, or give everyone, if you could, maybe a couple bits of advice if they have an idea. What are some of the things that you might either do the same again or do differently than when, back in 2015, 16, as you were growing?
Yeah, honestly, like now, if I'm starting any new business, I just start from the end. I'm like, in 1 year, how much revenue do I want to do? And then I kind of work backwards. How many customers do I need? At what average order value? At what cost per acquisition? Which means I need to spend how much on marketing? And then what are the kind of the integrator things, like what do I need for design? What do I need to set up for emails? And we've already done it with Play Crate, so it's pretty easy now to kind of say, this is our welcome flow. These are all of our sequences, through Klaviyo and email. This is what we're doing for SMS, and we're just kind of copy and pasting it. So I have a much better idea now, but I would say I would definitely start from the end with anything you're doing. Are you building this as a lifestyle business? Are you building it to sell, which is completely different?
Right.
Are you building it to help people? Are you building it to make money? Are you building it to do both? I think a lot of people kind of start with this idea in mind, and you're never going to finish the same place you started, because things just don't materialize that way. If you asked me even 2 years ago if I was going to start a soccer company, I would have thought you were nuts. So and I mean, the market kind of tells you what's going on too. So you have to adapt. You have to switch the way that you're doing things. But yeah, I think starting at the end, people just don't really think through, what exactly they want. A lot of people I talk to are very ambiguous. They'll say, I want a business, I want a nice life. But literally, like, how much does a nice life cost? What are your expenses per month? Do you want more than that? And I would work backwards from every cent of that. And what's important to you? Like, the next business we start, Mark, you introduced me to Natalie. We're going to be working with Every Kid, and because it's important that we have a social impact with Play Crate. And I wish we just started that right from the beginning. I wish that Play Crate was a social good company first, and I know that now after years, and it's much harder to integrate that. But I think the best thing is again, just to reiterate like a third time, start from the end, know why you're doing it, and really think through how to get there by reverse engineering it. I just that's like the first napkin math I do with any new company.
Reverse engineering, absolutely. So I'm going to jump in right now with Laura's question because there is no giraffe story, everybody. Laura was asking, or is there, Josh? Anyways.
I don't know what the giraffe story was. Yeah.
Anyway, for families who have two children playing two different sports at the same time, have you thought about doing family boxes, slightly higher price point, but meets the needs of both kids, et cetera?
About, I think, between 2 and 3% of the people that subscribe to PlayCrate have 2 boxes. So it's just 2 boxes. They get 2 boxes a month. We have some families that have 4 or 5 boxes a month because they have a huge family. So just for simplification purposes, you can have multiple subscriptions on one account. So if you want 3 boxes and all of them have different shirt size and different positions on them, you can do that. But we don't have one box where it all comes. We have each box is individualized towards the kid.
Because I'm assuming that I just think logistically it'd be insane to be able to have to figure out, well, all right, I need to combine the baseball with the soccer on this one and the baseball and the whatever with that one. And yeah.
Yeah. We try to, I mean, that's another thing I would say if you're going to work with the end in mind, if you're starting a new company, simplifying everything. Oh man. Anytime we add one variant to our product line, it just explodes the number of, potential order of SKUs. And we work with a fulfillment center in Dallas, and we try to just be very simplify everything. So I think it's a great idea, and I think it meets a need, but it would be one of the later things we did because it would just add complexity to the business when we're already kind of solving that problem for 2 to 3% of our customers.
All right. So without getting in trouble with the 2 to 3% customers and so forth, but is there, if the same family ordered 2 or 3 at one time, is there some sort of group discount kind of thing, or not really?
I mean, people always reach out. Like people buy for a full team. So a coach will reach out and say like, "Hey, I want to buy 15 plate crates. I don't want a subscription. Can you get us a discount?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, go for it."
Okay.
So I write, I give them a discount code. You can always just reach out. We're not like this. We're not like a big company at all. You can reach out to me or Chris or our customer service and just ask if you have a question. And 9 times out of 10, we want people to experience play crate. You know what I mean? And obviously we don't want to lose a bunch of money doing things, but we're always working with people or doing giveaways or something. But yeah, we don't have anything on our site for like a family discount, but we always have first crate discounts and things like that.
Awesome. So going forward, as you start going into additional sports and so forth, who are some of because obviously we've got a bunch of people here today, and also for people that will watch this recording later, who are some of the people that you'd love to meet that would really be helpful to your business? And I'm not talking about the influencers. I'm talking about, is it people at Dick's Sporting Goods or something, or is it, who are some of the types of, those type of intros?
Yeah. Honestly, I think anything I think about with where I want the business to go, I'm still in a hardcore learning phase. I just want to learn from people and be around people that are building things or solving difficult problems. It doesn't have to do with baseball. It doesn't have anything to do with serving me. Most of the time, the great connections I've had with people is actually me connecting them with someone else, and then months later they had a question and we would connect and we would just idea share. So I have a bunch of peer groups and friends that are in the same space that we just try to help each other's businesses. So if you're in the e-com space or you're in the subscription space or we're just getting into wholesale and you just want to idea share and see if we can help each other's businesses, that's usually what I do. And always there's, from those brainstorms, there's always something that helps somebody in there. And sometimes it's me, sometimes it's them. But yeah, I mean, I just want to meet, people that are building things. That's pretty much it.
Quick random question, but how would your product play on something like a QVC, or would it ever, or is that kind of
Yeah, no,
compete at?
we've talked to QVC. They said it was a little too niche for them. I had a friend that was on QVC, and they've done really, really well. And he's in a subscription box space as well. And so I talked to QVC, and they just said, they thought it was very niche. I think once we have a sports crate and it's a full
Yeah.
sports subscription, that could be totally different. But I know working with QVC is it's really difficult. There's a lot of things you need to do to prep them. It takes a big team to kind of fulfill those orders in the way that QVC wants it. But they shut the door on us for now. But we'll reach back out to them when if we think we have a product that would fit their model.
Yeah, I mean, it's so niche that like 82 trillion kids play Little League baseball. So I don't know. Really? All
Yeah,
right,
and honestly, a lot of grandparents are purchasers. They purchase
of
for gifts
course.
for grandchildren. So
All right, remind me afterwards. I've got someone I can talk to about that. So remind me.
yeah.
So with that said, just throw out just real quickly one thing you wouldn't like if you had the chance to change it, and it can be last month or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, or sort of an advice, or like give advice to someone, say, look, don't do what I did, do this instead, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I hired people too late. I wish I hired good people earlier, and that has to do with agencies. We work with a ton of good agencies. Um, I would say I was scared that they weren't going to produce, but then once I took full ownership of them producing, they're all fantastic. So our employees are great, our agencies are great, but it's because I'm very hands-on with them. I like to say anyone we work with, I just want high integrity. I obviously want competence. That's like
Right.
kind of the bare minimum. But I want people to do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. That's pretty much it. If you can do that, the onus is on me to give you good guiding directions and good metrics. But if you're competent, then you can fulfill it. So that's kind of how we define integrity. With Play Crate and anyone we work with is, are you going to do what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it? That is like half the battle of working with people. If people just do that, I call it like, have you read the book? So there was like a mentor of mine that years ago I asked him for advice, and he said the first thing that you're going to do is read these two books. He said go buy these two books and read them. And then I bought them and I read those two books, and I got back to him a week later and I was like, here's what I liked about them, all this. And so he's like, cool, come meet me for coffee again. And that's turned into a relationship that's been like incredibly helpful with somebody now who's very successful in the subscription box space. But that's kind of like a test. Like if someone says they're going to do something and they don't do it, that's kind of a sign of that's going to keep happening. So we look for high integrity people, and that's really helped us. And then the ownership's on me. It's always my fault. Everything that happens in the business is my fault. If somebody messes up, it's my fault for not helping them or being clear enough or communicating properly. So I wish I hired people earlier because I was scared to hire people because I thought I would lose money on it. But then once I took full responsibility for everyone that I hire, it became much easier, and now it's pretty easy to hire because I'm not really scared of losing the money over them.
Nicely stated. And and I think that goes just across the board, whether it's a small company or a large one. I think once people take ownership of that process, I used to be in executive search for many years, and I could tell you that there were so many companies that just butchered the whole hiring process because they didn't take ownership of it, and they were just grabbing people based on a resume or something and not based on the person. And when you talk about, when you meet somebody, I think you have a pretty good vibe or a pretty good feeling about them and how they'll fit in, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we want to be around people that we like. So
Yeah.
everyone we work with, like we spend so much time together. We know each other's friends and family, and you want to hire people that you want to spend time around because they're part of your lives and they're impacting your lives, and you're impacting their lives actually disproportionately. So yeah, hire people you just want to be around, and then have like-minded goals that are interested in the things that you're interested in. And just be good to them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you always take the position that it's my fault always for not, usually it comes down to communication. Like if people just learn to communicate clearer, 90% of your problems are usually solved. If people are competent again to begin with and smart. It just comes down to like crystal clear communication and crystal clear objectives. Um, but we have good people, and when things don't go well, then we kind of take a step back and we say, how do we fix this systematically so we don't have to do it again.
That's awesome. This has been fantastic. I'm going to throw a quick question at you just for fun. Give me 3 people, alive or dead, who you would love to have dinner with.
Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia. I think he's just like an incredible person, incredible business owner, incredible risk taker, someone just I really admire. Teddy Roosevelt, I just think he's a total badass and adventurer. And he's just been like, I don't know, endlessly fun to learn about. Who's the last one? I feel like I don't know. I don't know who the last one is. Those 2 would take up a lot of time. Maybe like maybe an author. Maybe like Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I like his books. He's kind of twisted.
little bit.
Talking to weird people. Yeah, I do those 3. I think that's a solid 3.
Psst, shouldn't you pick a baseball player?
I've talked to enough baseball players in my life.
I mean, like Babe Ruth. I don't know.
I think Babe Ruth would want to talk about baseball too much. Baseball is so much fun to play. It's a great game. It's helped me with like every part of my life. But yeah, I think a conversation with Teddy Roosevelt would be more fun.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, an incredible life. And we can talk about him offline for sure. It's funny because, and it's really interesting to hear, I haven't asked that in a little while, but it's always interesting to hear people's answers. You know, I always joked about how I would say, gee, I wouldn't mind having dinner with maybe Jesus, but then I wouldn't talk about religion. I just ask him, you know, if when he was like a teenager, was he kicking a ball around or something, you know, whatever, like a rock or something, like what do you do for fun as a teenager, you know, stuff like that. And people are like, wait, no, you're not supposed to ask him that. But anyway, all right, well, listen, I truly appreciate your time. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you and folks at the company and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, you can just message me on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to search. My last name is Band, like a marching band. You can email us. Just my email is josh@playcrate.com. You can reach out to support if you have a question about Playcrate or anything, or me. That's totally fine. You know, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We're making like a bunch of fun content, which is always great. But yeah, you can just Google Playcrate, and there's a bunch of ways to get in touch.
That's awesome. So just a quick little congrats in advance. Your wife is due any minute now, pretty much, with baby number 2. It's pretty exciting. If you thought having one was a lot, good luck.
I don't know. Yeah, we're due any second. So we got our bags packed. We're ready to fly out the door. So yeah, we got a lot of family stuff going on, all the good stuff in life. So it's fun.
No, that's fantastic. And it sounds like you have a lot of family there and all that. So that's wonderful. But anyway, listen, we're going to jump back to the tables in a sec, but and we can just wrap things up. And I know you got to run in a few minutes, but thank you so much for sharing your time today, Josh, and continued great fortune. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. And I look forward to seeing Playcrate grow even quicker and faster and farther.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Josh.